Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Savannah. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. So today I'm going to be talking about my first trimester, all of my symptoms, everything that I was going through, where I was, how I felt, all things first trimester. I am finally in my second trimester and I feel so much better. I cannot remember the last time I sat down and did my makeup, but today has just been such a great day. I am 17 weeks and 5 days today, and I'm barely starting to feel my energy. Okay, so with that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into this video. So I am going to be going through the apps that I have that I was using to track when I first got pregnant, because I did write some things down for you because I knew I wanted to do this video. So let me just go ahead and get to the calendar and let me go back all the way to June. Okay, so right off the bat, the first symptom that I had throughout my whole pregnancy, and basically which was a red flag for me, which is what I thought meant that I was pregnant, were my tender breast and sensitive nipples. That has been something that finally went away, and I'm so happy. My boobs were just so sensitive, and I'm just so glad that I'm over that. And then let me see. Another thing that I had was in like the first few weeks of my pregnancy, I had so much cravings. Like as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, me and John just got these food cravings, and I remember that I was craving black beans, and I was craving like really typical Mexican egg dishes. So like huevo a la mexicana, just like papa a la mexicana. I wanted a lot of potatoes and everything a la mexicana. So that's what I was eating a lot of breakfast Mexican dishes, and I really loved it. And I also was extremely tired. I was so tired the first trimester that it was unbelievable. I honestly thought that I was going to have to drop a few classes, because I am a full-time student. I'm taking 4 classes right now, and I literally thought that I was going to have to drop a few classes because I was just so tired. I couldn't keep up. My homework was catching up to me. I'm an English major, so that requires so much reading, and I would only read like 2 paragraphs and I was already putting myself to sleep. So that's something that I'm just so happy about, that I'm not just like sleeping all day, because the first trimester I literally was sleeping all day. I mean, I even went MIA for a while. I didn't fully announce that I was pregnant until like 12 weeks. And for those whole 12 weeks, I was MIA. And those whole 12 weeks, all I was doing was sleeping and eating, sleeping and eating. Another thing that I got in my first trimester was constipation. And let me tell you, constipation is real. But if you try and keep a healthy, balanced diet, you really aren't going to suffer that much. I know that in the beginning it was tough for me because I drink my morning coffee, and luckily my morning coffee always helps me go to the restroom. I go to the restroom number 2 every single day. And so when I first got pregnant, that was something that was really bothering me, because I don't like knowing that I don't like knowing that I haven't gone to the restroom in one day. Like that's too much for me. So that was something that was really bothering me, and I think that was the most that I went, was like 1 day without going to the restroom. And so then I started adding yogurt to my diet. I started having more milk. Jonathan bought me some figs and dates and prunes, and what else would I take? Honestly, that was it. Like I would just pray, and even if it was like 6 o'clock in the morning and I woke up and I felt like my stomach needed to go, I would run to the restroom, and thank God sometimes I would have to be there for a while. I mean, TMI, but that was something that really bothered me. But now that I'm in my second trimester, I am going to the restroom a bit better now. I still have to make sure that I'm eating my fibers and my grains, because if not, I will get constipated, and that's something that I just don't like. So yeah, I do remember getting a lot of constipation, and especially because my doctor had me on a progesterone cycle, so I was taking progesterone every single day at night, so I guess that also added to it. Let me see what else I have. So then another thing that I experienced throughout my first trimester was so much cervical mucus, like crazy amounts of cervical mucus. And that was just like the first few weeks of my first trimester. After that, my cervical mucus kind of slowed down, and I still do produce cervical mucus, but not at the amounts that I was in the beginning when I first got pregnant. But I will say that I didn't vomit throughout like the first few weeks of my first trimester. I started actually vomiting the last few weeks, so maybe 13 weeks, 14 weeks, 15 weeks. That's when I was the most nauseous. I mean, food would trigger my nausea. Jonathan would be eating next to me, and I just couldn't stand the meat that he was eating, and it would just make me sick all day. I think throughout my whole first trimester, I think I only vomited like 8 times. The worst week was at week 16, and I was just vomiting like crazy. That was when I was visiting my mom, and I was in Brownsville. It was just so much, like I was sick the whole time that I was there. I don't know if it was the food, I don't know what it was, but I was just vomiting so much. And now that I'm 17 weeks, I feel like the vomiting has gone away. And then another reason why I feel like my body is starting to react in a positive way, not only because I'm starting my second trimester, but because I did change my diet habits. I've been trying to make healthier decisions. Now that I'm in my second trimester, I am not like having any type of food aversions, and luckily I'm not having that many cravings anymore. And if I do have cravings, it's like cravings for like cheese. Like right now, I don't know why, but eggs and ketchup just sounds so good to me with a slice of crispy toast. So that's like, those are the things that are making me want to eat like so much of them. I've been also craving pasta. I don't know what that has to do with it. Oh, and that reminds me. And then throughout my whole first trimester, I don't know if I was like low on calcium, but my body literally craved gallons and gallons of milk. Like I was drinking so much milk the first trimester that Jonathan had to buy me like boxes, because here in Mexico they have the milk in boxes. So he was buying me boxes of milk, and I would go through them in like a week. Luckily I'm over that already, and you know, I'm just regular. I feel regular now. I'm starting to feel myself. I definitely didn't feel myself in the first trimester. Like I remember one day I went to the restroom to pee, and I looked down and I just felt fat. Like I just felt different. My boobs just feel different, my body feels different, and then I just have like some days where I just don't even feel like I'm myself. And I'm so glad that I'm getting out of that, because I definitely try not to sit in those thoughts, but like I try not to sit in those thoughts, and I try to go forward with my life, but it's difficult, you know. I mean, it's real easy to fall into that, and I know that it's normal. I know that we have all these hormones going on, and you know, these beautiful changes going on with our body, but I'm just so glad that I'm not going through that anymore. I'm just really feeling so much better throughout my second trimester. Another thing that I didn't have when in my first trimester was like being super emotional. I wasn't really that emotional. I wasn't really that moody. If anything, I was just more loving towards John. Now this second trimester, that's a whole different story. I think I've been a bit more hormonal, and I'm not too happy about that. And so I try to get myself in check when it comes to that, but yeah, and let me see, because I mean, I really didn't have too much going on with my first trimester. I will say that I felt that my first trimester went by so smooth, because I really wasn't that sick. The only thing that I experienced was like fatigue, going to the restroom more. What else was it? Oh, and another thing that I was experiencing was like my food would digest so slow. So as it is, I have a fast metabolism, and I could eat like 8 times a day and I wouldn't feel full, right? And now that I'm pregnant, I don't know if it's because everything is getting pushed up. When I have a big meal, it takes so long for that to digest, and if I have a big meal, I feel like I need to vomit and I just make myself sick. So that's another thing that I've been doing, is like limiting how much I eat and making sure that I don't overeat, because those days that I do overeat are the days that I feel so sick. And then one last thing before I finish the video, because I feel like this is an important topic to touch upon, because if you do not check it out, or if you don't get it checked, it could lead to serious health issues. But around week 7, week 8, I did get a UTI, and I was so devastated when I found out that I had a UTI. So basically I found out that I had it because I woke up one day like at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the restroom like I normally do, and after I was done peeing, by the time I got to bed, I felt like this really sharp cramp on my left side, and it was just so sharp, and it lasted for like 2 minutes. And I remember the doctor telling me, like, if you have any sharp pain, anything that just feels out of the ordinary, text me. So I was able to text my doctor, and I told him what happened, and he told me, you know what, I need you to go and, you know, basically go get an analysis. And I did that, and it came back that I had a UTI. I was like literally beating myself up until I did research, and UTIs are a very common thing when you're pregnant. So I'm glad that I was able to catch it early, but I did experience that in my first trimester. Ever since then, I've been, I mean, as it is, I do drink a lot of water, but since then I just try not to hold my pee that long. I've been drinking a lot of cranberry juice and staying away from sugars, and changing my underwear constantly, because since I have an increase of cervical mucus, I try to change my underwears at least 3 times a day, and now I just strictly use cotton underwear, and that's been helping me. I haven't felt any types of pains. The only pains that I feel now, since I'm going into my 2nd trimester, I'm in my 2nd trimester, is the round ligament pain and like my uterus stretching, but that pain that I felt when I first had my UTI, I don't feel that anymore. Okay guys, so that is it for today's video. It was kind of short, but I wanted to sit down and, you know, let you guys know what I experienced in my first trimester. I know that every pregnancy is different. I luckily didn't feel that pregnant until the end of my trimester, when all the vomiting and the morning sickness and the triggers to smells happened. But now that I'm 17 weeks, that has all diminished, and I'm so excited. I feel like I'm glowing. I'm just so happy, and a lot of great things are happening in the future. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you guys are in the loop for everything. The baby moon is coming up, the gender reveal is coming up, and I'm just so excited to share with you guys. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that little bell notification on, and give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.